So this is going to be a very interesting and exciting video. So last week I made a video talking about a future foldable iPhone. So an iPhone that Apple started working on, an iPhone that unfolds into an iPad, or an iPad that folds into an iPhone. So this is something that we'll probably see around 2020. So that's the expected release date for this. So quite a few years to wait. Now in case you want to check out this video, it's a pretty interesting one. The link for this is in the description. But Samsung is also working on a foldable smartphone as well. However, unlike Apple, Samsung actually plans to release their foldable smartphone next year. So yes, Samsung might actually have a foldable phone as early as CES 2018, which is actually happening in January. So grab some popcorn because this is going to be a very exciting and interesting video. And let's take a look at what Samsung has planned for their foldable Galaxy phone in 2018. First off, a bit of a background story. So Samsung has actually had a flexible OLED display ever since 2011. Yes, in 2011 at CES, Samsung actually showed us a very thin, flexible OLED panel that caught everyone by surprise. So that was impressive, but Samsung didn't actually stop there. They've kept improving their flexible OLED panels, and 3 years later, in 2014, Samsung even showed us a TV ad showing us how they believed a flexible Samsung Galaxy phone would look like. So in this ad, this phone essentially unfolds into a tablet when you need the extra screen real estate, and it folds back into a phone when you want something more portable. But this was just a concept, it wasn't real. It was essentially Samsung's vision as to how a future Galaxy S Flex would look like. And something that I really like about Samsung is that they're not afraid of experimenting. So they're not afraid of making a weird phone that people might not want to buy, so a weird phone that might do horrible when it comes to sales. I mean, if you take a look at all their offering, they have hundreds of models, low-end, mid-end models, and of course their flagship Galaxy S and the Galaxy Note lineup. So having so many smartphones, it's pretty easy for Samsung to just start experimenting with a few models. So for example, if you take a look at 2013, in 2013 Samsung released the Galaxy Round. So this was their first phone that actually used a curved bendable OLED panel. It didn't do well when it came to sales, but it caught a lot of people's attention and a lot of people's interest. Then in 2014, they actually released the Note Edge, or the Note 4 Edge, which actually came with one side of the display curved. So this one actually did much better than Samsung expected when it came to sales. And just 1 year later, Samsung unveiled the Galaxy S6 Edge, which actually came with two curved sides, followed by the S7 Edge, and now with the S8, they moved entirely to a curved OLED panel on both models of the S8, so the S8 and the S8 Plus. So this is what I like the most about Samsung. They do a lot of trial and error, and if something works, then they're the first ones to implement it. But they haven't actually released a flexible phone, or even better, their 2014 phone concept that, you know, unfolds into a tablet yet. But something pretty interesting happened in 2016. So back in spring 2016, Sam Mobile reported that Samsung was actually working on a phone called the Galaxy X. And the phone was supposed to be released alongside the Note 8 in 2017, but unfortunately that never happened. We then expected Samsung to announce something special at IFA 2017, but that never happened either. So what's happening with the Galaxy S? Is it still happening or not? Well, in late October, Let's Go Digital uncovered some patents filed by Samsung showing what appears to be a really long phone. This one actually has a hinge in the middle, and this one folds in half. So it reminds us a lot of those old clamshell smartphones. Well, phones, they weren't really smartphones, like the Motorola Razr, if any of you remember that. And this is quite different than what Samsung initially had in mind, with a phone that unfolds into a larger tablet, because this one looks like a very, very, very tall phone with a tall aspect ratio that folds and unfolds when needed. Now, in case you're wondering, yes, this stack already exists, so it's not just a patent. We've actually seen quite a few prototypes from different companies that feature fully foldable tablets that actually fold into smaller devices such as smartphones. So for example, this Chinese company called Bowie, they actually showed exactly this. So a tablet that unfolds into a smartphone, which then can fold back into a phone when needed. But when it comes to actually releasing such a device to consumers, there's a few issues that need to be taken into consideration. So for example, the OLED panel is flexible, but the internal components inside the phone, they're not. Therefore, there needs to be a hinge that would allow the device to fold, and then the OLED panel would go on top of that hinge. But then folding and unfolding an OLED display over and over again would eventually destroy the pixels. And according to TechRadar, by the way, Samsung did show an actual working prototype of this back in 2011. And even back then, after 100,000 volts, according to Samsung, the brightness of the hinge would actually drop by just 6%, which is really, really good when you think about it. And Samsung has actually improved their flexible OLED tech by a lot in the last 6 years. And guess what? Ko Dong-jin, hopefully that's how I pronounce it, he's the president of mobile business at Samsung. He actually told Bloomberg back in September 2017 that Samsung is indeed working on a bendable display smartphone with plans to release it in 2018. So there you go, confirmed. Samsung Galaxy S10 officially confirmed by Samsung with a 2018 release date. But then he also confirmed that there are several problems that Samsung has to overcome first before releasing the actual phone, and this might actually delay the launch of the product. So there you go, not only does Samsung have lots of patents on a foldable phone, but are also planning to release it in 2018. So a CES 2018 announcement of the Samsung Galaxy S10 is pretty likely to happen, or if not, a teaser at the Samsung Galaxy S9's event, which is going to be in around February 2018. But don't get me wrong, this is not going to be the Samsung Galaxy X, it's not going to be Samsung's flagship for 2018. So that's still going to be the Samsung Galaxy S9, the S9 Plus, followed by the Note 9 towards the end of the summer. So the Galaxy X is essentially going to be just Samsung's attempt at something that might change the smartphone industry entirely by, combining a smartphone and a tablet into a single device. Now, most of Samsung's patents on this are on that long clamshell smartphone instead of the tablet that actually folds into a phone. So in the end, the size, or better off the aspect ratio of the tablet's screen is given by the location of the hinge, if you think about it. So if you have the hinge on the top of the device, then you would get, when extended, you would get a long device. But if you have it on the side, you can actually extend the display on its length, and you would get something that looks like a Nintendo 3DS. And yes, in case you're wondering, Samsung did actually show us a working prototype of this as well. It wasn't just Bowie, so Samsung did show us a working prototype of this. But let me know in the comments which design or which hinge approach would you actually prefer to see in such a device. Also, when it comes to the actual stock levels, reports are pointing towards just 100,000 units for the Galaxy X's launch. So a very, very limited stock for what's essentially a, well, let's see if it works product. Okay, so in the end, the Samsung Galaxy X is definitely coming at some point. Whether this is going to be in 2018 or later, 2018, by the way, is a very, very likely possibility. And even when it comes out, it won't be perfect. So it's going to be really expensive, possibly around $1,000 or £900 in the UK and even more in Europe. The battery life isn't expected to be great. And then the display itself, if Samsung, for example, uses a quad-edge display for the entire tablet, if you fold that tablet in half, you would obviously get half the resolution. Not even to mention the cameras, Samsung will probably not include a dual camera system like on the Note 8. So a lot of trade-offs are expected, but nonetheless, this is going to be a very exciting and interesting device that I cannot wait to get my hands on. And at some point, we'll all have a smartphone that unfolds into a larger device or a tablet. So this is where the future is heading towards. So a small device that folds into a larger one, and then maybe a stand so that you can add a Bluetooth keyboard and a Bluetooth mouse, so you can actually turn that small smartphone, foldable smartphone, into an actual computer, again, when you need it. Feel free to subscribe if you want to see more interesting videos like this one, and enable notifications by tapping on that bell icon so that you're notified whenever a new video comes out. Check out my foldable iPhone video, Apple's also working on such a device, and lots of interesting things are covered in that video as well, but this is going to be at a much more later point in time than Samsung, so 2020, 2019 for the foldable iPhone. And also, if you want to know more about the Samsung Galaxy S9, I've also done a full leaks and rumors video on the S9 if you want to know everything we currently know about the S9. Other than that, let me know in the comments, what do you think about this foldable tablet smartphone approach? Do you think it's a good idea, or would you prefer having two separate devices with no trade-offs, so no OLED vulnerabilities and no battery issues and no hinge or discoloration issues on two separate devices? So would you prefer having two separate devices, or single device with possible issues at first like these? So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think. Feel free to give us a like if you have enjoyed it to let me know, and this has been pretty much it. So thank you for watching. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Son of Tech, signing out. Cheers.